A long time ago I tried to create a few games, but let's just say things didn't quite work out. In this video I want to share with you the stories behind these attempts. There were 3 different occasions when I tried to make games, but none of them succeeded in the end. What if they had worked out? Maybe I'd be a game developer today. In fact, it was this dream of making games that led me to enroll in the Information Systems course at Uniplac, which I'm currently finishing. But over time, my interests have shifted. Now I'm mainly focused on finishing the course and earning my diploma, and then doing something else entirely with my life. Anyway, let's get back to the topic of this video: the games I tried to make in the past. Five Nights at Tolly. Yeah, I think that was the idea back then. I was one of those kids who loved FNAF and spent hours watching Riskrim playing dozens of FNAF fan-made games. One day I just decided to create my own. It was even inspired by One Night at Flumpty's. You can even spot Birthday Boy Blam in The Office. So, Tolly was supposed to be a parody of Dolly, the Brazilian Coke drink. Funny thing is, I've never even tasted Dolly. I'm not sure if Dolly is still around or if they went bankrupt, but that's where the name came from. Tolly as a spoof of Dolly. The game wasn't even set for 5 nights, it was 3 days, and since I barely understood coding back then, and to be honest, still only know the basics and the logic, I was stuck copying and pasting code from the internet. I didn't know how to make the monsters move, how to program time progression, or even how to let the player switch between cameras by clicking. Instead, you had to use the keyboard, typing keys like A and B to switch between cameras. That's why you have those 2 cameras on the map. The scenarios were incomplete and the ones I managed to finish looked awful. I also created a character based on Zé Gotinha, another parody of a well-known Brazilian character. In essence, it was a Brazilian version of FNAF filled with local memes. From the game I only have 3 surviving videos. I'm not sure if I deleted the project or if my old computer broke and I lost it all, but the game was never finished, and that's where my FNAF fan game story ends. You can tell I was using the old Game Maker at the time, the one with only the white theme, no dark theme at all, and clunky interface. That version feels so nostalgic right now. I have no idea what Game Maker looks like today, but I'm sure it's a lot more polished than what it was back then. When I was making these games, I also had no clue how to use objects and rooms properly. For a FNAF style game, you'd need just 3 rooms. One for the menu, one for the office, and one for the cameras, but I didn't have the skills to set it up right. The next game I attempted though got much farther in its development. First of all, take a look at this screenshot. The green figure is the player. I didn't have a proper sprite for it, but the scenario was essentially finished. You can see the entire map in the bottom left corner. This was the outside section of a castle, and the room had 2 possible paths. The first path started at the top, where you'd enter through the stairs and make your way into the black door above. The second path began where the green character is, leading downward to the next room at the very bottom. I'll show you the entirety of the clips I have on this platformer, even if my narration doesn't fill up all of the video time, just because I'm that proud of my work on this one. The game was heavily inspired by I Wanna Be the Guy, so the idea was for it to be challenging, maybe even frustratingly hard. Once you watch the clips, you'll clearly see the influence. I remember almost finishing this game. Most of the map was done, but I couldn't figure out how to create bosses. I had several planned, but I didn't manage to implement any of them. Aside from the scenarios in the clips, I had plans for others, like a forest, an enormous cave system, a massive technological base, an underground castle, a giant furnace factory, a haunted house, a cloud map, and even a Zeppelin. Of those, the only one I'm sure I never finished was the Zeppelin one, because it was meant to be the final stage with the last boss, but I never got to that point of development. My intention was to make this game the start of a series of platformers. The next one would have been much easier, inspired by Super Mario World, complete with a world map and everything, but life didn't go on that path, unfortunately. As for what happened to this game, well, I was using my mom's computer at the time because mine had broken, and the files ended up corrupted. The project never worked again on GameMaker, and that marked the end of the game. I never tried making it again, or any other game for that matter, but I did try to make something different. Although I never tried making another game, I did attempt to create a tile set for one. Much later, after learning what a tile set was and how it's used in games, I decided to draw my own in Krita, and I still have it saved on my computer. It looks pretty good, doesn't it? In the top left corner you can see the ground tiles, featuring purple grass and dark interiors. I also drew some twisted purple plants, and a smaller set of ground tiles without grass. I think I must have really liked Twisted Tree Line, huh? Still using that profile pic. At the center there are some strange tree designs, and at the bottom you'll notice a few full-sized trees. On the left there are tiles I imagined for the very start of the game, like a sewer exit and a few broken cars. I also designed a cabin located at the top right corner, with some tiles beside it meant for a sky background. Lastly, there's a tile at the bottom left corner that represents a city skyline, which I intended to use as part of the background. For a first attempt at a tile set, I think it turned out pretty well. I was inspired by a YouTube channel called Untied Games, which specializes in tile set creation. Watching his videos motivated me to make my own, but this ended up being the only tile set I ever created. In this chapter, I also want to share some random banners I made when I tried streaming Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies on Twitch. That didn't go anywhere either, mostly because I got bored of the game and stopped playing it, but whatever. As a little bonus for you, here is an anime ranking I probably made back in 2019 or somewhere around that time. I think it's a personal top best anime list, but honestly I don't even remember for sure. Anyway, here it is.
Número 2, One Punch Man. Agora pausa. Número 2 já foi, pausa. Número 4, Youjo Seiki. Número 5, Kill la Kill. Para. Número 10, Shoujo Shumatsu Ryoko. Número 3, Dragon Ball Super. Começa a gravar. Número 8, Shingeki no Kyojin. Número 6, Fairy Tail.
Da sua mãe que você para que você desistisse disso. Você não acreditou em ninguém, né?
Não, segui meu coração.
Você sabia que um dia você ia ter uma chance.
Número 1, Hokuto no Ken.
Um dia ia me abençoar.
E olha o visual de artista que a nossa mecânica cantora tá.
Número 7, Koito Uso.
Valeu a pena acreditar?
Valeu a pena.
Por que até hoje você nunca conseguiu viver de música? Uma situação dentro do limite da atividade?
Porque, no caso,
Número
eu moro,
9,
a gente faz
Inuyasha.
show. Porque show é pra cantor.
Well, I wanted to make this video to share these little creations of mine that ultimately went nowhere. My mindset is completely different now, and I'll probably never make a game on my own. But hey, if you're an actual game developer and found something interesting in what I showed, feel free to reach out. Who knows, maybe we could create a platformer together. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. See you in the next one.